Good afternoon. My name is Chase Nelson, and this webinar is regarding the business model canvas and focusing on visualizing your new business through using the business model canvas. I can't seem to see any of your faces, so I hope you're all out there. I'll just keep going through this. Let's see here. Before I get into things, just wanted to let you know just a few housekeeping items. The session that you're entering, hey, I can see somebody now. Hi, Laura. The session is being recorded. If you don't want your video to be recorded, you may want to turn your camera off if you don't want to have your face in the video. You'll be receiving an email in a week or so with the slide presentations and the slide recording. But excuse me, I really do appreciate any questions you might have and welcome any interactions that you want to have during the session. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions as we kind of go through this. I really want to make the session for you and for your benefits. So want to make sure we're kind of staying on track and making sure the content is helpful and relevant to you. Just a few more introductory slides. The group that I'm part of is the Maine Small Business Development Centers, and we have about 12 to 14 business advisors kind of located across Maine. We provide no cost confidential business advising to new and existing business owners, and most of our meetings are kind of either in person or virtual. But we spend a lot of time working with folks like yourselves who are thinking about forming businesses and want to kind of move forward with your business plans, or people who have existing businesses that are trying to grow the business, or people who are interested in purchasing a business or selling a business. So we're very interested in dealing with folks like yourselves, and quite a range of industries that we serve across the spectrum. And as I mentioned, we focus a lot on business planning, business growth strategy, operations management, and lots of different activities. Just a little bit of my background. As I mentioned, I'm a business advisor with Maine SBDC. I focus mostly on Washington County, so I'm located up in Eastport, which is up in the hinterlands. I don't know where all you guys are from, but it's great to have a kind of a diverse set of background here. I work a lot with individuals like yourselves who are going through the business planning process. And one of the areas I'm just really passionate about and really enjoy is this whole area of business design. And business model canvas is just a fabulous tool to start thinking about how you're going to design the business and take it from kind of an initial idea, an initial concept, an initial dream, and start to kind of move forward with that, start to think about how you want to make it happen, kind of what are the first steps, what your business is going to look like. So really enjoy this topic and look forward to sharing some of my background on the topic with you and getting you engaged in the business model canvas. So we're going to focus today on early stage business ideas. So some people use the business model canvas when they have a very mature business and are looking to do some level of innovation with new ideas and concepts. Some people are looking at the business model canvas if they're trying to drive some operational improvements. But today we're going to focus on really early stage business ideas. So things that you'd like to get to turn into a business, things that you think might be a business, or things that you're already using it. You've already started a business, but you're trying to kind of build it out and kind of make it more of a robust operation. We're going to focus on really three main areas using the canvas. One is this area called desirability, and that's looking at your business from a customer's perspective. looking at what problems you're trying to solve for the customers, and what we call this value proposition. What are you selling, or what kind of service that you have that's really going to solve the customer's problem, and how much value you're going to deliver. The second piece of the puzzle is kind of around this whole area of feasibility. How do you create your product or service, and how do you make sure that what you're creating is what the customers value? And then the third key piece is this whole area of viability, because you want to make sure that at the end of the day, you're actually making some money, taking home some money, which is the kind of the goal of the business. So looking at, are you doing things that are profitable, and is the business idea something that you're going to make money from and that can really sustain you? So the objective here is to kind of leave this session with kind of a new perspective on your business idea. A lot of times people start with a business plan, which can be some kind of a text document that you may do in Word or something, and that's one way of thinking about your business. Other people pull out a spreadsheet and they want to get all the numbers in there, and numbers by month with your gross profit and your cost of goods served, and then all your operational pieces then come down to what your profit is. That's great too, but the Canvas is kind of a visual way of looking at it, so you can supplement both your Word-based planning documents, your Excel or kind of spreadsheet-based financials. And this gives you kind of a third way to kind of look at your business and present it to people that you maybe want to hire, or if you're looking for get some funding, a way to kind of present your idea to bankers or business partners. Just another way to communicate your business idea and think through it. A lot of people talk about business models. It's a term that is kind of all across the industry, and the objective is to kind of hit these questions and be able to say, well, what does your business look like? What are you going to do? What are you building? And who are your customers? Have you really even thought this idea through? What value are you doing? Are you providing, and is anyone going to go buy it? And are you going to make money? And the wonderful thing is that we do actually have a way to represent that pretty much all in one page. So what you're seeing in front of you is what we call the business model canvas. It has 9 blocks, and this is the traditional one that came from the Strategizer group, probably now almost 20 years ago. There have been a number of different variations on the business model canvas, but this 9 blocks is the traditional format, and I want to walk through this at a fairly high level, and then come back and give you some examples. And then if we have time, I'd love to see if as a group, we can kind of sketch out some of your business ideas and start to think about how this would be relevant to you. The first piece is the customer segment, and it's very closely aligned with this idea of the value proposition. So when you're thinking about your business, what people ask, really initial question, the real basic question is, so what do you do? What do you make? Are you providing a service? And who is going to be the person that's going to buy that? So it's a very basic question, but it's important to think about kind of what your customer segment is, who you're really targeting with your product. Are you solving a problem that they have, and are you solving a problem or providing a service to them that they value and will pay for? And that's kind of the first key question that you want to sort through. Then there's two questions that come along with that very closely. If you know what the customers that you want to serve, how do you reach them? Are you going to set up a storefront? Are you going to try to do something online? Do you have some relationship with a partner that's going to kind of work through that? So you would need to think very quickly how you're going to reach them. And then once you reach them, how are you going to interact with them? Is this going to be something where you're talking to them about your product and service? Is this something that's pretty much all a web-based online delivery, or are you going to have a sell the product through somebody else? So somebody else is actually going to be interacting with your customers, and you're going to just be giving them your product, kind of in a wholesaler kind of situation. So you very quickly want to think through, who your customers are, what your product and services, how you reach them, and then when you reach them, how you're going to interact with them. And then that drives how much money you're going to make. You're very much what the people will call your top line revenue. This is the money that's going to kind of feed everything else you're doing. So that's kind of the first piece that you're thinking about from a financial component. Then you shift gears and you start to think about, okay, how are we going to do this? What is the feasibility of it? So there's three boxes that you want to get onto fairly quickly. So what are your key activities? How are you going to make this? Who are your key resources? Who is going to actually make the product? Is this something you're going to do yourself, or are you going to hire people? Or the last piece is you're going to have some partners that help you out, and kind of go through and work with you. This then drives how much it's going to cost you to produce and sell the goods that you have. So you started out with your top line number with your customers, and how you're going to reach them, and the dollar amount that you're going to have at the top. Then you're going to start thinking about, well, how much inventory do I have to do this? Do I have to have a storefront? How much is that going to cost? Do I have employees that I'm going to have to pay? Gosh, I sure would like to make some money myself, so maybe I'll pay myself a little bit. So that then starts subtracting things away from your top line sales. And once you have how much you're going to make, how much you're going to cost, then you're actually going to know, hey, do I have a viable business that is going to work? So I'll pause there just a second. I'll be glad to go back and kind of work through this, an example of this, but I just want to stop for a second to see if anybody has any questions. So once again, feel free to interrupt me as we go through if you have any thoughts along the way. Let's see about the next slide. Ah. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to look at this three different areas. The first set of activities is the value delivered, and that's really the desirability of your business and the cash that's going to come in. The feasibility of it is how do you make it? How do you make it happen? Do you have the resources to support your business idea? And then the viability piece, which really drives the financial component and make sure that the business is successful enough to be sustainable on an ongoing basis, that you make enough money from the business to make it work for you. So let's just look at a relatively simple example about someone who wants to sell lemonade at kind of some national parks or local park services. So once again, we start on what was the right side over there on this customer segment. So who are the customers, for this lemonade stand? And it's going to be the people who are visiting the park. the very specific customer segment. And then in the middle, you have this value proposition. What are you building? What are you making? And so Kelly's going to make this the cold, tasty, natural lemonade on the go. So that's the product and the value proposition that Kelly's going to provide to the park visitors. So what is the channel that she's going to go through? And she has an online channel where looks like she sells lemonade online, and then she going to have a booth where park visitors can come, and the relationship that she then has with the customers is very, very personal, very direct, kind of face to face for the booth sales, and then a little less from the lemonade sales. So the park visitors come in, meet with her at the booth, they buy the lemonade, and then if you look at the bottom right side, they then pay her. And so the revenue stream that she's looking at as in her business model is it's both lemonade sales and lemonade tips. So you can kind of picture that's kind of the top line money that's coming in. Then if you look on the left side, well, what does she have to have in place to actually make this work? So from a key resources, needs to have ingredients. She needs to have a booth, and if she's not there, somebody has to be there to man the booth. So some kind of salespeople there. What are these people doing? Well, they're making lemonade and selling lemonade, and then some people are actually out there marketing lemonade to maybe on the website. Who are her partners? She definitely has a relationship with the municipalities that have the park and that allow her to set up her booth and do her business from there. And then that kind of drives down to, well, what is then the cost structure associated with these key activities and resources? Well, she has to pay for the ingredients. She has to, the salespeople have some flyers that they may be passing out. She needs to have some kind of equipment to make the lemonade, and then there's some salary she needs to pay to her salespeople. So you can kind of see that it's a nice sort of way to kind of circle through at a very high level to say, well, this is what my business is, and this is what I'm doing. Now, she may do this for a month and realize, this is fun, but I'm not making any money. I've been working really hard, but all I have now is a bunch of credit card debt because I'm buying all those ingredients, and I don't seem to be able to get enough sales coming through. Well, then you can come back to this canvas and go, okay, what do we need to do differently to make our business sustainable? And you can start thinking about the different areas. Does she need to deal with more customers or different types of customers? Does she, instead of working at the parks, does she need to go to maybe sell up ball games also, or set up a booth downtown somewhere for shopping? So you start to think, well, maybe besides park visitors, we need to have some different customers. Well, if we start looking at other customers, what that might drive the top line and make our business have more revenue coming in. But that also means we have to start looking at some of these items on the left side. Maybe we need to have a new booth. We need to hire additional salespeople. So will this new customer segment actually make money at the end? So you start thinking about that. You can kind of start running some calculations to sort of think about the different areas that might be helpful. I'll pause again and see if there's any questions that you might have, or any suggestions that you might have for Kelly to improve her business if things aren't going so great. So I assume that you're on the call because you have an idea or you are thinking about uh, some type of business that you want to start out. So if if you don't necessarily have to share this, but I would like you to spend just a minute or three, and think about the box on the right there, this customer segment. Take a second and jot down on a piece of paper who you're targeting for your business and the value proposition, what you're making, what problem are you going to solve for your target customer? So take a minute, kind of think that through, scratch it out on a piece of paper. How did that go? Anybody have any questions or any comments? Anybody want to share? No wrong answers.
I guess I could share.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. So as far as my customer segment, I've kind of developed already an online business, being a graphic designer.
Awesome.
And my customer, it's a very, as you know, graphic design has a lot, it's a very broad category. Like who am I designing for? And that was my kind of main kind of problem, I guess, in the beginning. I didn't want to like just focus on one type and then miss out on another type of customer. So, and I'm kind of just getting started in this industry, and I do have a lot of experience. I went to school and, kind of did this on my own as well. But I am, my customer segment is basically going to be entrepreneurs and like
Okay.
small businesses and startups. And I really want to focus on offering affordable graphic design services for these businesses because I was there once and I know how much it costs to hire a graphic designer. It can cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And when you're a small business or just starting up, you really kind of need help with all of that because it's so much to be able to do it all on your own. And I want to be able to help with brand identity, logo design, any flyers, business cards, anything to do with whatever that business needs for design,
Mhm.
but at a very affordable cost.
Yeah, that seems like it's very well thought out, and I imagine as you get into it, you'll continue to kind of refine that. You may decide to have some kind of an industry focus, or focus on healthcare or something, but all that further down the road. But it seems like you've got a nice market, and then once you kind of th think that through, then you can kind of start thinking, well, what are the channels that I'm going to use? How am I going to reach these people? And then once you reach them, are you going to do some type of a kind of a one-on-one consultation with them? What kind of a relationship do you want to have with them? So it sounds like a good start.
Thanks.
Anybody else want to share? So if you have your customer segment defined and you know what the problem that you're solving for these key customers, take it down and just to start to think about how are you going to reach your customers? What is the channel that you have? Are you going to actually go out and have some kind of a retail outlet? Are you going to work online? Then once you connect with a customer, what is your role going to be in the sales and service process? Are you going to work with them yourself, or they have a kind of a high touch personal relationship, or more of an indirect relationship? If you're some businesses sell through other businesses, so if you're selling your product to a wholesaler who would then sell that. So if you have some kind of a food product, you may sell it to Hannaford's, and then Hannaford's would then sell it to the end customers. Or if you have something that's more on a mechanical nature, you may be selling it through a Lowe's or a Home Depot that would then actually have the customer relationship. And then they would be your channel, and then your money would then come back down to you. So think that through for a second, and then on another side of paper or another piece of your paper, start thinking about what resources do you have to have, and what are the key things that these resources are going to do. So I'll pause for a second and give you a chance to kind of sketch that out. Excuse me. Well, how did you find that activity? Were you able to define the key resources and what they're going to be doing, or any key partners that you might have? Because once you go through and kind of lay out what the resources and activities are, then the next piece is coming down and figure out, well, how much is all that going to cost? And that it becomes kind of the cost structure that you're going to want to lay out in more detail. So the next step kind of in level of detail would be, if you had a spreadsheet out there, you'd have the stuff on kind of on the right side that can lay out the revenue streams and the kind of the customer interaction. And you may see things like your actual sales line, and then you could add in a kind of a cost of goods kind of sold, sort of a financial number there to kind of come up with what your gross sales would be. And then you have your operating costs, and that would then take obviously take money away from your sales line, but it gets you down to kind of what your income would be, and kind of assessment of kind of your viability of the business. This just has a little bit more detail around it. A lot of what we've been talking about already, as you kind of start to think about these different components. And once again, we'll send out all this material so that you can have a copy of that as well as the recording. There's a lot of work that you can do around this idea of the value proposition, and thinking through in detail what the specific value is that you're offering to this very specific customer. So as you start to build out your business, you don't need to go through this level of detail when you're just thinking about getting your business started, but the different areas that you can improve on as your business gets up and running is looking at on your customer segments, focusing in on where you really want to drill down into, what are the niches that you're really trying to drive out, and then making sure that you're building a product that lines up very much with the segment that you're focusing in on, and that you're solving a problem that they have, or helping them with their activities, with a product that's unique enough that they'll switch from what they're doing to take your product, and that they'll pay a premium for what you're doing. If someone doesn't value your product, then they're not going to pay what you're hoping to get from it, and it can be a lot of effort trying to run at a market that's really not there for you. So you really want to go through and look carefully at who your customers are. Does your product really do something that values them? Can you reach them? How are you going to reach them? And then once you reach them, how are you going to interact with them? So that is a process that's going to be very iterative as you kind of build your business out. But like I said, it's probably not something you need to worry about with your initial idea. Initially, you just want to make sure that you have a value proposition and an initial customer segment that you and your in your estimate is going to be a valuable place to start. But you can continue to iterate through and continue to refine your revenue streams. Also, as you get into it and you start to build out your business, you will hopefully be very successful, and you'll need more resources. It'll be maybe more than what you yourself can do, if that's how you're kind of setting it up. And you may need to hire some people. You may need to engage more partners. You may need to figure out new ways to do things. If you're on the manufacturing side, you need to buy newer, bigger pieces of equipment to do your manufacturing and production. If you're making something, you may want to consider outsourcing it to another group. It doesn't have to be sending it to China, but it could be some other group that you want to have doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. You may want to outsource just part of your business. Excuse me. You may want to outsource the distribution side. So you may not be the one. Yeah, I think Jeff Bezos always likes to tell the story about how when he first started Amazon, he was actually the one. They put all things in all the books in the boxes and mailed them out and drove them to FedEx. Well, that's probably good when you're first starting, but he's obviously kind of moved on past that and got some new partners to kind of fill that as his business developed. Excuse me. My apologies. Sorry for that. We'll also be sending out kind of these tools and templates so that you'll have access to these. Otherwise, open for any questions that you might have. Well, thank you for your time. And once again, we'll send out the slides and the materials. And feel free to reach out to the Small Business Development Center. We have a website and lots of resources, lots of webinars like this out on YouTube, and lots of classes. And as the folks like myself, actually, you're providing consulting type services. So appreciate your time today, and thank you very much.